people. Yeah, so we do talk often, but yeah, I haven't seen you face to face. Well, this is face to face.
You talk
It's like a
about,
video chat.
I don't remember the last time. Like it's been that long.
It really has, but yeah, that's crazy. Well, y'all know who I am, Jaimi Alexander. I'm with the famous author Anthony D. Bryce.
That's it. We getting there. We getting there, man. I'm so happy to be seen. It's we was talking about the other day how I'm always creating in a bubble, and I'm in these four walls all the time, and really get out and experience people and be around people. So this is a good move towards that.
And that's why I wanted to do it, because today I was like, okay, well, we said we're just going to do something today. We don't have to be pressed for like a subject and like talking points and all this, but let's just do it
Yeah,
and then see what happens. Because I
yeah,
feel like I've been a hermit too. Like I've been
yeah.
going out to eat like fancy dinners because that's what I absolutely love to do more than anything in this whole entire world. Um, but as far as like coming live online and doing this and that, I haven't been doing anything. I haven't
No,
been in the mood.
no. I understand. It's been a weird vibrational season and recalibration, as you say, all the time. So I'm with you. It's a different kind, but it's definitely the level of, I don't know, pressure, for lack of better words, and sometimes overwhelmed with so much coming at you. And then from the creative space, you're having these ideas and you're seeing how to execute. What does it look like for you and your own schedule? What does it look like in the marketplace? Just all these different things. And we talked about how you could get so far into trying to add value and go through these technical steps that you almost feel like you kind of losing your essence of what you're really about in the process.
Yeah, and I don't want that
Yeah.
because that's not really fun. And one thing I have committed myself to is having fun. And that's another thing too, being like a life coach and wanting to be somebody who shares quality information. If I'm
Hmm.
not feeling it, I'm not going to come on here and force it. I'm not going to put on and try to create a word because, you know, like you said, it's been a weird vibration. And I feel like, I don't know if you guys are in the chat, share with us what you've kind of been on in the since the year started. How has your year started and how do you feel and what are you going through? Because I know a lot of people that just feel thrown off, but if my vibration is thrown off, I know it's felt. So I just
Yeah.
kind of like opt out of being this person who has to show up and didn't. No, I don't. You don't want
Yeah.
that. I don't want that.
That's definitely you. Your vibration is felt. Like I've known from, I think these past few months we've talked consistently more than any other time. So I've gotten to know you more energetically, and then they'll say, okay, this is how Jay feeling today, or she not feeling, or this is how it's impacting her. So yeah, I 100% understand. And it's like we're almost like a quarter through the year, almost through the first quarter. That's
I can't
crazy to
believe
me.
it.
So I'm like you. I'm interested to see where people are compared to where they felt like they wanted to be by this time in the year.
Hey everyone, someone live online with Colton. Hi. Hey. Yeah. Everybody I've talked to has had their world, but you know what? Okay, so I think I shared this with you probably one of those times we were talking about a month and a half ago or so, where it's like we have this whole it's January, new year, new you, new this, new ba ba ba. And I'd be like, it's the dead of winter.
Right.
Hibernate. If you feel like napping, please nap. Please do not feel forced to like grow a flower in this snow right now. Like,
I
if
like
it's
that.
not working,
I like that. Don't feel forced to grow a flower in the snow.
it's a lot of pressure. When really, it's going to do its own thing in its own time. So for those who can get it in and it's like New Year and you did it, kudos to you. But I just know a lot of people who got beat up
Hmm.
during January, spent February recovering. And,
Hmm.
even for me now, I'm just now feeling like, okay, I have calibrated. I know what I can take. Things aren't easy. Things aren't perfect. They never will be. But that's okay. now like I have a
See what Jamie got going on so she can get her technical difficulties worked out. Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday. Like she said, man, we just wanted to come on here and just chop it up a little bit, introduce ourselves to each other's audience, and just see what's going on, man, and not just feel like we're kind of forced to talk about something or to speak about anything. And so things just authentic, man. They're not kind of doing what we're supposed to do, just kind of doing what feels right, what feels natural.
yeah. You can see me now?
I see you.
Okay. I got a phone call. So at least now I know what that looks like. I forgot to put my phone on do not
Gotta put
disturb.
it on. Yes, that's good to know because
Yeah.
I didn't mute mine. Mute what is silence, whatever the thing is.
I put it on, it's like a little moon,
Snooze,
like a phone.
snooze.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah,
Or
but
yeah.
I rarely get phone calls, probably unless somebody asking for some money. So I don't expect to be getting. I know. Don't
Well,
do it.
my
Don't do
car
it.
is in the shop. I was like,
I'm about to say don't do it. I seen your face and when I went that direction. So, but
be
yeah.
like, don't be calling me with that. You can call me with some donations.
We'll be
I'm getting
putting.
my car fixed right now because another weird thing, talking about this weird energy. I went downstairs one day trying to be a good citizen to get a new tire because I had a tire issue twice.
Mhm.
And then my driver's side window was like knocked out. And I know it wasn't hit by a car because you would have to be pretty stealth just to like knock the mirror out and like not touch the rest of the car. Like the whole thing, it was still on, whatever. But luckily, I have great insurance and it's zero cost deductible,
That's
which I'm
priceless.
very happy about because what? I'm
Yes.
tired.
Yes. Like nothing else. Like don't put nothing else on me like
Don't
that.
do anything else.
I get it, man.
Yeah.
I get it. So while we're on here, I don't want to talk so much about me. And even though I know what you have going on or working on and what we've been talking about, let the people know kind of what you have been working on lately because it's exciting to me. So I think it'll be exciting to other people.
I love that because when I got on here, I was like, I'm gonna ask Anthony about his stuff because he's the one with the stuff going on. I'm over here like, but you're right, and this gives me an opportunity to be excited about me for me. Number one, the personal time I've been spending with myself has been extraordinary. I love to grow and I life coach because I grow through the things that I talk about. I'm not just like reading a book and spitting things out or trying to copy paste. It's like, oh no, I know that this works and this changes and I know that this is hard and I know this would be easier if perspective change, getting rid of guilt, shame, what part is ego, what part can I be accountable for? Like I'm interested in that. So I've been enjoying kind of like overcoming some things and putting some new things into perspective. Um, so that's been one thing that's big. You've been keeping me accountable. So I did finish writing my journal book thingy.
Not a thingy. It's a book.
It's a book. I finished it. It really is a book because there's so much. And I think I told you I decided to make it like a 90-day situation.
Yeah.
And it's for those who are interested in personal development and really want to change their whole life. And I tell people, changing your life, it sounds a little bit dramatic, but really, like
Right.
everybody's like this close. There's only just like a little bit that you can't see or that you're not getting, or that is so habitual, you're unable how to make a shift. But you know, I tell people it's like if, we're in a plane and going to a destination, if you're 2 degrees off the whole
Yeah.
time you're flying, you're going to end up in a completely different destination. Like at first you were going to Tokyo, now you're in the middle of the ocean. So if we could just get you, just that 2 degrees, it's small, but it's everything. And I'm just those little small changes, but the book will change your life just by reading it, even if you don't implement it. But put the journal piece in there so you
Mhm.
can implement it. But there's not a chance you could read 2 pages of this thing and not feel
Right.
shifted. And I'm really excited about that. Um, I actually finished editing a video for a course I did. 3 three ways we, three hidden ways we sabotage our relationships.
Mm, that
And
should be a good one.
it's good.
That should be a good one. That opened up a lot of conversation for sure.
It does. It's the stuff people don't think about. And I was so motivated when I learned about it and had to grow through it. I was like, oh, I know people aren't thinking about this. They're
Yeah,
not. Because we
yeah,
see it all the time. We feel entitled to certain things. We feel like we were taught to relate in certain ways. And when you take this course, which I made, at a very low cost, like it's almost gonna be funny, like, I can't believe I've been out here doing this. No wonder it didn't work. No
right.
wonder we're arguing. No wonder, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
those are the things that I'm pretty proud about completing, and I'm just gonna do what I got to do to take them to market. But I'm just gonna keep creating without, like you said, the force. Because last thing I'll say is, everything's changing so much. Even the people that are doing it big, they're shifting and changing and trying to figure things out and stuff too. Everything's changing almost every day. So I just think that if we stay authentic and have a good time, things are just going to fall into place. So that's really all I got. I can't do funnels like this person or go live every day like that person or whatever. I got to do what works for me, and the people that will rock with me, they will, and they'll be blessed for it, and me in return too. So
Absolutely. Yeah. So definitely whatever you need, let's do whatever we got to do to get that to market. The hard part is done. So
yeah.
now that I know that that's complete, we can move on to the next phase and get that in people's hands and help people get that perspective so they can make those adjustments. And like the point you just made, man, it's kind of, like I said, it's like the Matrix. It's like once you know, like you can't unknow it. Now you may not actually, implement it maybe to the level that it needs to be implemented, but at least you have that level of awareness. There's one thing just to be ignorant to it, like I didn't even know this exists, or I never looked at it like that. But now that I know, it's when I'm going against that grain, I can feel it. I know what I'm
Mhm.
supposed to be doing, but I'm still gonna keep doing what I've been doing. So I think that that's gonna be a good one that you can open up for a lot of dialogue and perspective from it. So I can't wait to hear about that one too.
Yeah, you're so right. It's that resistance that we feel, or that thing, I always tell people pain is an indicator. So when you're aggravated or somebody's this or that or whatever's going on, it is a moment to pause. And when you got a toolbox of big ideas or aha moments or awareness or little shifts that you can make, it's going to change things for you.
Yeah,
Like, how could you not be excited about eating all that up? Like, I just live for it because we're only here once. So it's very important to me to live like the very best that I can and evolve as much as possible. So,
yeah,
I can continue enjoying this life.
yes, absolutely,
Speaking about
absolutely.
life and love and the legacies that we're creating,
Hmm. I like
talk
that.
to
I
me
like that.
about some of your projects going on. You've come up with something that I really love and I think it'll be impactful. So, care to
I
share?
like I like that segue. So life, love, and legacy, because I was trying to find something that encompassed everything that I was about and everything that I think that would make the biggest difference in not only my life but the lives of the people I serve, because I didn't want it to be pigeonholed into one kind of category, because so much of my content that resonated, that gets the most traction, is relationship, love, and self-love, and with the relationship, there's so many dynamics of perspectives of what you should be, what a man shouldn't, what a woman shouldn't, what this looks like. And I think there's a ton of value in that. But like you and I always talking about, so much of the core of that always comes back to self. So I'm all about self mastery, and yes, let's talk about those things, but let's get back to understanding why we believe what we believe about those things, and if those beliefs that we have are contradictory to the kind of relationship and connection and lives that we're trying to create. um and legacy. huge to me. And I almost get mad at myself sometimes when I look at my content, because I'm like, yo, if you came into this saying that when you're talking about building a legacy, leaving a legacy, living a legacy, and you're trying to help people to understand your holistic approach to that, where is more of the content where you relate what you're talking about back to that? And there isn't a lot. I've spent months creating and formulating what that looks like, but I haven't put a lot of it out like that, because I'm looking at what they're engaging with and what they
Mhm.
found is interesting, and then I'll dig deeper into that, because I feel like that's creating value from what they say that they want from the marketplace and what resonates with them. But that's that's just a very small piece of me, and what I feel is going to make the biggest difference. And that's understanding uh how to define your legacy, and what that looks like, because I have some thoughts about how our traditional understanding of what a legacy is always talking about what things look like after we're gone,
Yeah.
and what we're leaving, like the physical things that we're leaving, but we don't talk about the emotional wealth and the mental wealth, and the love wealth that we leave, and the lessons that we leave, and the examples that we set, and how we treat in our sons to treat their mothers, and their daughters to treat their spouse or men or whatever, man. Just kind of what those things look like, and just how I'm showing up in life. And I'll end that part with this, is that when we think about legacy, another myth that I believe is that they think that it's more of a masculine thing, like legacy is a masculine thing. And I understand that, because we want to feel, based on the traditional aspects of what our purpose is when it comes to provide and protect, and to be the head, and all those different things, which I understand. But it's like, when I think about me personally, and especially our culture and community, many of the lessons were given by women. Sometimes not, and a lot of times out of necessity, not necessarily because they wanted to, because they had to. And when I
Mhm.
think about the person who probably left the biggest impact when it comes to legacy, when it comes to the foundational things that make me who I am, and the things that have guided my how I show up in life and how I show up to other people, has been my grandmother, who left a legacy of faith, of family, and of helping people. And those three staples have been the core of who I am as a person. So that's something I want to get into as well, to talk about, to expand our understanding of what a legacy is, and not only how to leave a legacy, but to live a legacy now, to be that, and not just make it all about, let me do all of these things so I have something to leave. What is my life looking up, showing up for myself as well?
I love that. And shout out to your granny. What was her name?
Edna.
Edna.
Edna, yeah, I think,
You might
yeah,
have to use that somewhere.
the first book, my first book, I dedicated to her.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Shout out to Edna.
For
Thank you,
real, man.
woman.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
That was my
No, I
everything.
love that. I know when you first told me about life, love, legacy, it resonated to me because that's everything. I almost can't think of anything else. Like, what else is
Yeah,
there?
that's
Honestly.
it.
And I love that you also included us women in it because I know I, my sisterhood is so strong. I love the women in my life so much. They're such beautiful, quality, amazing, just out of this world women that I get to talk to every day or whenever I need something or whenever they need something or whenever we've been able to evolve together and grow together, and the cohesiveness of that growth that we experience together. I know it's world changing. I know it's life changing. And I've always had this unique perspective on legacy because, I don't have kids at the moment. So that's another thing. Like, you can still have legacy without kids. And I think that I've always looked at the energy that I've put out and the people that I've brought together and the events that I've created and things like that to be part of my legacy because, there's people that I've put together. I was thinking about it the other day and just digging through my life to see where my power is. And I used to do events in New York and I was working for this incredible cocktail bar. I was also working with a fashion designer and I was modeling. I was in Fashion Week. There was all this stuff. But when I brought like my fashion friends to my bar friends, like it was just so popping all the time. And I remember this one guy that he was just like, he pulled me aside and he was like, when I met all you guys, I was going through a divorce and it was like so hard, and it was just challenging. And he was basically sharing like he didn't have a life, like, and it was
Mm.
hard for him to pull himself out, but kicking it with all us was like life changing for him in that season. And I think of things like we were so popping. So I believe him. It was just like, it and he was such a good guy and amazing person. I'm just glad at whatever time and space he decided to go outside and we came outside, it just created something. There were so many connections like that. There was one other connection I did. I used to do acting in LA and I auditioned for this play. It was amazing. I got the role. And it was fun. It was great. And then I ended up moving to New York. And then I met more people and I was doing more things. And it turns out the director of that play was in New Jersey the same day some other guy I knew, and they were both sitting at the bar. They don't know each other. They're looking at the TV, they laugh at something. And so of course they acknowledge each other like, "Oh, that's crazy." And somehow a conversation about me comes up. And
Wow.
they're like, "No way. You know this girl?" I've never been to Jersey at that point.
Mm.
So and then we ended up reconnecting and there was all these things. So when I think of legacy for me thus far, it has definitely been energetic. And I love that you like put that in there because, it gives me a little outside validation because I've always felt that. I'm like, I don't know, I don't have books and this. I may not be this huge person yet, but there has been a shift in things because of my existence, my energy, and my willingness to put effort forward.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
two things. Um, everybody, every environment you come in contact with is an opportunity for your legacy to be written, to be experienced, to be felt. And that comes from the work that you do on who you are before you show up to that place. And also the intention that you have in being in that place and the impact that you want to make. Not nothing by force, just by how the energy and how you want to show up and you being an example of the change you want to see in the world or what you want to see this thing look like. The other thing is the irony is that that's how I met you.
Okay.
um uh,
Exactly.
is it's crazy you told that story about those dudes, but long story short, I think I was in Virginia. I was watching a TV show, and at this time we had no dialogue whatsoever. Yeah, we were following each other on IG, but that was it. And then I looked, I'm like, man, that looks like the Jamie girl that follows me. It looks like her. And normally, somebody maybe not me would be like, oh, that's what's up, and just kind of leave it at that and be like, I'm not. But for me, I'm like, you know what? I'm about to find out. So I had never messaged you or we had any other contact before. And I sent you a message like, hey, I just seen somebody on uh what's that? Mental Samurai.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yes.
That is that you? And you were like, oh yeah, that was me. That was cool, whatever. And that's kind of how we got started. And that was years ago. So just the
That's
irony
so funny.
the irony in that, just how the universe works. And it's years later, and we knowing how hard it is to meet good genuine people who you going through their process and you both going through process at the same time, which is going to happen whether you're doing it with intention or not. um, but to be able to still kind of be around. And even though for a period of time we may not have spoken through messages like for months, but
Mhm.
to still know that that window was still open for you to be
Mhm.
like, hey, what's going on, or vice versa. So that's, I don't take that kind of thing for granted.
You know, and you're right. You know, the first point you made is so funny because this morning I'll always spend time after meditation, like while I'm having my breakfast, listening to an audiobook or something that will continue to reverberate that positive, energetic reinforcement throughout my day. So today, and it's been so long since I've read this book, but I put on the power of intention. And it's true. And it is something that you do and think about and cultivate before you leave the house. It's a beingness, it's who you are, it's what you intend people to feel or receive from you, or just what you want to put out there. And it's that type of intention that would have me say yes to a TV show like that, and then, whatever, or be like, yeah, I'm just going to audition for this play, whatever I was doing in that moment, or yes, I'm going to do. It's just it all starts before you even think it starts, like
Yeah.
all of it. And then to show up and even be received, or wanted for the role, or wanted for, in these things, or even people buying into whatever I got going on enough to rock with me. Like,
Yeah.
that never comes from one place. It's like this whole, it's an embodiment.
Yeah.
So when you're aware of that,
Yeah.
I've always loved the butterfly effect of things. It's like it can be small, but it's not small. I remember one day, and these are the things that stick with me. I was leaving it on an audition, and there was like, I think it was two guys and a girl. They were walking towards me, and I was just walking towards my car. But, I just looked at him and smiled. And the girl was like, "Thank you so much for smiling." And I'm thinking like, but how often do we don't acknowledge, and we're all in our own world, or we may
Yeah.
not feel like it, or we're in our phone, or blah blah blah. But even that showed me, I don't I don't want people to feel that when they walk by me, as if, now if I'm really in a mood and I got to love myself first and I don't have it to give, that's something different. But
Hmm.
generally, I want people to feel seen.
Yes.
So if that's my intention, something that small, it was a millisecond,
Yes.
was acknowledged enough for her to say something. Like, what you
Yes.
do matters. How you show up matters.
Yes. That's golden, man. That's golden.
Mhm.
Just the fact that you say that you smiled, and when you said it, it made me think about how that doesn't happen. I don't see it a lot
Wow.
at all. Like people just smile and a smile. I mean, that's how you acknowledge people. Just a quick
Yeah.
smile. Because nowadays you smile at somebody, everybody think you want something. You trying to holler. Oh, why you smiling at me? You want something? And I mean, because most of the my leaving the house is usually the gym. I don't
Yeah.
go a ton of places, but I'm going there 4 or 5, sometimes 6 days a week. And you
Mhm.
already know what it's like in there. You mess around and smile at somebody trying to be nice,
Yeah.
they gonna be like, I got my headphone. I'm not. I'm like, I don't want
You're,
nothing. I'm just, you know,
you're
I'm
gonna end up
alive.
on
You
TikTok.
alive. We here. I'm acknowledging you and energetically. I'm hoping you're well. I hope that you have a great workout. I hope that things are fine. And if not, I'm hoping that that smile or that energy exchange gives you a little boost. You never, like you said, man, you never know how much of an impact the smallest things make of you just being yourself. There's
Yeah.
so many times um, that through either in person when I'm able to see people in person, but through my social media, how me just speaking what's on my heart has made such a difference. I actually talked about it in my first book and my latest book about I didn't know that what people were going through on the other side of these profiles, and I didn't know a sentence or two couple sentences finding somebody at the right time would help them get over some of the toughest season of their lives.
And with that being said, be aware of your legacy, because to me that's what it is. It's all the stuff too, but it's that energetic signature. And when you were saying that, I also thought about you know, I don't think that we talk enough about. I love science. It's weird because I don't think I paid attention in school, but now I'm just like, ooh, scientifically, that's amazing. But our every cell in our body can hear what we're saying and feel what we're feeling. And I've always loved math. I was a big math girl, and I'm going to try to explain this the best way I can. But it's kind of like our food is like mathematical, and so is our body. So it's like everything has to add up.
Mm-hmm.
And so anything that we put in our mouths or eat or drink or whatever, it's like your body's trying to make it add up.
Mm-hmm.
And even that in each moment, literally, if you do decide to have children, like your genes are being affected in every moment. Like if you want pretty kids, you better get your vitamin A, your vitamin K. It ain't just he's cute, she's cute. It is like mathematically, energetically, things are lining up. Like your body has the math it needs to produce symmetry.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you get, these Hollywood beauties. And, Halle Berry's mom was probably eating right. She got all her vitamins. Okay. Because what are we doing? That face. It's just like,
Right.
you can't, you know, so even that when it comes to legacy, we don't think about some of these things maybe when we're like in our early 20s or even when we are pregnant and it's for men too. Men got to eat the quality of
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of like how do you want your children to live? If you don't get enough vitamin A, your kids could have, be nearsighted or have, eyesight things. If you don't get enough vitamin K, there's other things. So there's just all these things that contribute. And it's literally every moment. It's your lifestyles, how you want to show up, it's how you think, how you feel. Like all of it literally matters
It
more
does.
than we ever talk about.
Absolutely. I mean, pretty much what you're saying is if you put yourself first, you're taking care of yourself, you're trying to be the best inside and out, you're giving your body, your spirit, energy, your vibration, nutrition, you giving it everything it needs to be optimal. It starts with that. I mean,
Yeah.
because if you do that, then it's not like, okay, let me do this because I'm going to have kids one day or I'm with this, my woman, and I want to make sure that if we have some kids, she gets pregnant, that they have what they need. It's like if you are self first from that perspective, then you always put yourself in the best position to be able to put those things out in a way, and you're still being intentional at the same time, without necessarily always being cognizant of how you taking care of yourself in that way is going to impact the future.
Yeah. It's all the math.
Hey, blue
It's
butterfly.
it's the inner and the outer. If the inner is the more synchronized, I guess the word would be, you are internally, that's another, well, I think people are talking about it now, but just our field of energy, how far outside of us it reaches. Sometimes I'm aware of that when I'm in a bad mood. I'm like, I'm gonna stay in here because when I get fiery,
Yeah,
like,
I can feel it. I can
yeah,
feel
don't
it.
do it's so tangible. But when I'm excited, it is too. So
It is.
just knowing what we're working with, it's a grid, it's all math, it's symmetry, I love the numbers.
Yeah, and I can.
It just all makes sense. And if it's working on the inside, it's going to work on the outside. That's what you're drawing to you, the experiences that you have, even the stuff that I shared with you about these people and these interactions and ours. It's not by coincidence.
Mhm.
It was the math of it all. Like
Mhm.
it lined up.
Yeah, and I can attest that your energy reaches from there at least to the Charlotte area. I know that for a fact. It reaches that far. So meaning that I know to the point now. I kind of know your energy. It's like don't mess with Jay today. Give her a day or so. I know, like, okay, I can just check on, hey, what's going on? You good? As long as I hear that, I get it up. I'm good. Even if I don't hear it immediately, I'm not one of them. Man, she ain't. It's been 5 hours. She ain't.
Right.
Yeah, it's none of that. Or I know, hey, now ain't the time to be talking about and sending ideas and talking about all this stuff. She can't receive that right
He's
now.
checked out.
So but I think that definitely comes with an understanding, and I think because we have developed a place where you can be like I don't say authentic. I know that's such a cliche word now, but just be yourself, like to be all of yourself, where at least to an extent, with me, where you feel like the environment that I've created is like, okay, I feel safe enough to do that. And that, I guess I don't take that for granted either. And that means something. And because of that, I'm able to use that understanding and how I interact with you, and almost from our friendship to care for you. I know they say, the whole love language, it's the same concept. So love language is not only for the people you're in a romantic relationship with, but
Yeah.
of course you would want your romantic relationship to start with a friendship and not jump straight to it. What my point
Yeah.
is, it's just as important with the people, and how you care for them and the environment that you create for them, especially if you truly and genuinely want the best for them at the same time.
Yeah. So, and if you ladies watching, there's men who think about this stuff in the real world, not just the podcast bros.
Right.
Like
Right.
they're, and I love that too. I feel like, I'm around such good men like yourself. Cause I think, I don't even remember at this point, but just even us following each other, it was something that you were doing. I was like, oh, this guy is, I followed you for a reason. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So it's like, it matters to think that way, to care that way. It kind of just goes back to everything that we're saying, like, because you have made a choice and an intention to be that type of a person. Like, look, even like here we are today, us sharing ideas. Like, I actually got something done. And so, because, like, I be needing help. And I told you, I feel like people look at me and don't think I need any help or I have it all together. And you know me, I'll be like, I don't know. Like, what do what now? So it's just when you have the intention to actually be present
Yes.
and care, like there's just a lot. There's just so much behind that.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad you're such a man advocate. Uh, you got so much of that energy as well, and I think you have that allows you to really be able to see things from those perspectives, not in a way like, oh, tell me what you feel. It's in a, okay, I'm putting myself in your shoes because I've made a habit of trying to understand where you're coming from. So now I can be in an environment where you're not, and still to some extent speak on your behalf, at least from that energy, at least from your unique experience, in a way that, others or other women may not be in a place to, don't want to, don't understand how. So that's something that, I appreciate. And I'm sure as you get back on your platforms and you start just speaking and just talking about and being yourself, that those men and women will appreciate as well.
Yeah, I hope so. Cause well, thank you for that. Yeah, and I just feel like we deserve it. Sometimes the world I think that we see on the internet, I'm like, I don't live in that space. What are these people talking about? Like, don't get me wrong, I've dated guys that didn't get it right and really pissed me off in the moment and whatever, but I can still always, they're still human. I can always trail it back to, okay, I understand though, or at least I get it. But if we're not going to be in a place to understand, you lose out on too much. I don't even know how people are surviving under some of these
Yeah.
narratives. Like, how do you survive
Yeah.
thinking so negatively about the world and people? And to me, it's always going to be, well, back to what we said about the self love. It's like, oh, well, I'm just going to assume you think that about yourself. You don't trust yourself. You don't navigate yourself well in your own, because
Yeah.
people who are really healthy don't talk like that.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
you
All of
know?
that stuff is a reflection of that. It's not just, it's the knowledge of self, like knowing who you are, knowing what you want, knowing who you are, remembering who you are, knowing what you come from, knowing your why are you doing this, knowing, just being intent, like all of those things impact how you show up to life, or how you show up to relationships. Um, so it's not just about, okay, we're going through something, so now let me step back. And because that's usually when people start self-reflecting, they get out of a relationship, or they get out whatever relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship, a career relationship, a friendship relationship, they'll get out of it when they've invested a lot of, they feel like they invested a lot of time and energy, and then they'll be like, I got to find myself. I got to figure out what I want. I got to figure out who I am. I got to step back and just do some
Take
soul
inventory.
searching.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's when most people feel compelled to actually self discover. And it's usually at those times where they realize some things about themselves, if they're honest with themselves, that they didn't know before. But my point is, the key is not, you don't have to wait until things get so bad. You don't have to
You don't,
wait
it's like
until,
insurance.
yes, yes, you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait until something happens. You don't have to wait until things get bad. You don't have to wait until you break up with a situation to feel like that's when I need to go through a journey of figuring out who I am and mastering myself, figuring out what I am so I can figure out the aspects where I'm weak, the aspects where I'm strong, and parts of me that I want to practice mastery, not be a master at, because you're always growing. But mastery means that you're always trying to optimize yourself, whatever version, whatever season of yourself, at that particular time and at every moment. That's the goal. That's the life goal.
Period. And it helps so much. I could that's so me being a life coach, I created my own method called the Sassy method. And I really believe in my method so much because I know if you use Sassy, the acronym, at any given time in any moment to check in with yourself, you're gonna find it. But the very first one is self-love and mastery. I mean, if that's not the pillar to your entire life, I don't know what it is. I've experienced where, because I said earlier that like pain is an indicator. That's that thing that makes people be like, I gotta change my life. I gotta look in the mirror. I gotta figure out you hurt. So you needed that breaking open of sorts to kind of like take inventory of your pieces and figure out what you're keeping and what you're not.
Yeah.
Um, but what I found by being someone who is committed to self mastery is, do I always get it right? No, because we're always growing in seasons and it's always whatever. But does my self awareness give me better communication? Yes. Does it help me, and especially as a woman, this is so important, emotionally regulate? Like, yes. Like, there's all these things that it comes with that you don't know where was the byproduct of your work and your intention of self mastery that you'll find yourself using literally all the time because you know eh, you're being accountable for yourself. That level of awareness is something that I don't always know how to express it because even with my coaching I'm like I don't have this like perfect niche market and blah blah blah, but it's just kind of like like everybody should be doing this,
Hmm.
everybody. This is a life thing. Like, how do you tell somebody that you can change their whole life? It's like, girl, what? No, but it's like, no, this is like the pillars of your entire life. And the reason why it's so important is because there's a lot of people who spend time telling people what they should do. I
Hmm.
don't want to tell people that. I just want to wake you up to the you already know what to do because it's already within you. I can't tell you what to say to the man at the gas station Tuesday at 2:11 p.m. I don't know. You're going to have to know that. But in
Right.
order to know that, you're going to have your self mastery, your self love, your gifts, your tools, like some kind of self awareness so you can move
Right.
around this place.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So
Well, this was fun.
it was, man. It just, just reminds us that we could always do more time. It's like, oh, what are you going to talk about for this period of time? It's
Yeah.
definitely a lot easier and we didn't even have a subject to really dive into like that. But I think it was a great refresher, a great reintroducing, uh,
Allow us to
back to this
reintroduce.
platform. So yeah, I think it has a ton of potential. It's something that we definitely are dedicated to doing more of,
Yeah.
and a more specifically. And you never know. I'm trying to get Jada to lock down so we can have a platform that's dedicated for us, so we can have these conversations, because our energy exchange, I think, is dope. I think it has a lot of potential. I'm gonna say she evens me out, but she adds a level of energy that's just not. I'm not as bubbly. I'm not. I don't have that. Some of the sassy things that she. That's not me. Well, it doesn't happen naturally. I've heard I'm super sarcastic, and
I know.
I
I'm
have.
like, I can't wait till we can kick it. We gotta get you
Yeah,
outside. All
yeah.
you
That's
going to
what
the
it is.
gym?
Yeah.
Mm-mm. We gotta get you outside.
Yeah, that's what we got to do. So we have
Yeah.
to get it to a point where we can have these conversations live. I can come out to there, you can come out here, or we can go to wherever to be able to really you know make this thing happen and actually meet.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah,
In person.
yeah,
Well, I love
yeah.
this. Thanks for spending your time. I know you've got some things to do. So do I. I'm gonna go pick up this car. You've got some errands to run, but I'm glad we had this moment. You guys can
Absolutely,
find me at Sassy Method on TikTok, Sassy Method on Instagram, and sassymethod.com.
absolutely. And of course, I'm not. Of course, I don't even think I introduced myself at the beginning, but
I mean, neither.
Anthony D. Bryce. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. From here, my Instagram, Anthony D. Bryce, my TikTok at Anthony D. Bryce, and my website, anthonydbryce.com. So appreciate you guys for taking the time, the people that were in and out, the people who will watch this later. I know this feels more like some banter, but trust me, we've both been put a whole lot of work and a lot of energy and a lot to exchange and to share and to help and just to converse with you, to see what you want to talk about and see what you have going on, to see that we can go through this process together, because we're not coming in from this perspective of we have all the answers that you want, so you need to talk to us. It's like, no, we're going through this process with you. We've learned some things, been through some things, and dedicated ourselves to certain arenas, and so much so we feel like we have some tools and some resources and perspective and insights that could really make a big difference in wherever you are in your life
Couldn't have said it better myself.
right now. All right.
And scene.
Yes. So I
All right.
guess
Well,
with that,
until next time.
yep. I think you control it from that side.
I'll do I. Okay. Hi, Ryan. Bye, Ryan. Bye, guys. Peace.
He dropped in. We about to go.
It's okay. Catch the
We'll,
replay.
yeah, we'll be back.